This is definitely, in my opinion, the toughest fight of his career so far. One, because of how good Madrimov is, but two, because of the weight class.
Eddie Hearn has made a bold prediction for Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov, as he believes that the weight jump will be too much for Crawford. On the other hand, Israil Madrimov knows he will need to discover weaknesses of an iconic boxer he has long admired if he is to defend his WBA super welterweight world title against Terence Crawford. Crawford is attempting to become a four-weight world champion, but that does not worry Madrimov. Madrimov told reporters at the Grand Arrivals in Santa Monica, "I don't think this fight is about the size. It's about the experience and knowledge he can use. This division is my division and I'm the champion. I have to defend the belt. My dream has always been to fight the best boxers and the pound-for-pound boxers. When I received the news that I would be making my first world title defense against Terence Crawford, I was very happy. I am ready all of the time." Although Madrimov is full of respect for the man he is to come up against, he also wants to be the first one to give him a taste of defeat. He stated, "I have always been a fan of Terence Crawford. I like his style. He has great movement. It's a good style. It is true that he is one of my favorite boxers. There is always a first guy, and I want to be the first guy to beat him and to break all of the records. He doesn't have any weaknesses. I haven't seen any of those, but I will try to discover some. I am very excited to get this opportunity to make a statement. I'm not Errol Spence Jr. I am Israil Madrimov." Israil Madrimov is eager to ruin Terence Crawford's plans of fighting Canelo Alvarez next by defeating him and taking his spot at the top.
Now, who's champ? And then maybe Canelo Madrimov. Maybe.
But Madrimov emphasized that while his immediate focus is on Crawford, he is also eyeing a future showdown with Canelo. This statement underscores his ambition to compete at the highest level and his confidence in pursuing the biggest opportunities in boxing. Hailing from Uzbekistan, Madrimov is known for his aggressive and relentless style. Having showcased remarkable stability standing toe-to-toe with his opponents, he is considered one of the most intimidating fighters currently in his division. Israil doesn't have a long professional boxing career, as he has only fought 10 professional fights, but his amateur resume is quite extensive with over 300 fights. Madrimov's promoter Eddie Hearn also believes Madrimov could pose a significant challenge and will ruin Turkey's upcoming plans for Crawford by beating him August 3rd. Hearn shared his thoughts in a recent interview, saying that Madrimov is the best at the 154 division, and going up against him would not be a walk in the park for Crawford.
Israil Madrimov is being massively overlooked. I mean, I actually sent His Excellency a message yesterday and I said, I'm really sorry to ruin your plans for Terence Crawford, because all people are talking about is what happens next. Canelo Alvarez, Boots Ennis. But Israil Madrimov, I think, is the toughest test so far of his career, up at 154 pounds. He's a huge light middleweight, super welterweight, punches very, very hard, has tremendous movement, good boxing IQ, outstanding amateur pedigree as well. This is a real fight. And
Eddie also says that he has a bad feeling for Terence Crawford going up against Israil Madrimov. He says that Crawford is eyeing for other fights which might derail his focus from the main opponent he has on August 3rd. Eddie thinks that if Madrimov catches Crawford on the chin, it will be lights out for Crawford.
I've got bad feelings for Terence Crawford against Israil Madrimov.
Really?
Because like whenever you're talking, all I hear is Crawford Canelo, Crawford Boots, Crawford this. Like, he is fighting the biggest puncher he's ever faced on August 3rd, right? You know, people have been sending me stuff about where he got buzzed by Mean Machine and, you know, all this kind of, like, I'm telling you now, if Crawford gets hit on the chin by Israil Madrimov, he is going to really know about it. So we'll see what happens, but I've got a real sneaky feeling for my guy on August 3rd. I really have. I think it's a really tough fight.
Hearn also believes that Madrimov is going to be Crawford's biggest challenge because of how good he is, and considering that Crawford is jumping a weight class to face him. Hearn said, "This is definitely the toughest fight of Crawford's career so far. One, because of how good Madrimov is, but two, because of the weight class. You know, you're talking about a guy who started at 35, moving to 40, 47, now 54, so I think this is a very tough fight for him. Crawford is a tremendous fighter. He's pound for pound great, but sometimes you move up too far star, and hopefully it's this Saturday. Hearn thinks this particular event will be the turning point in Madrimov's career and could launch him into the spotlight. He stated, he's ready to knock out Terence Crawford in Los Angeles. This is the fight that turns Israil Madrimov into a superstar. Madrimov is the underdog heading into the fight, so a knockout win could set him up for exactly what Hearn says. Many have already wondered what would happen and who Madrimov could fight if he were to win, but that's the last thing from his mind. Madrimov stated, I'm concentrating on this fight against Terence Crawford. I don't think about anything else. I'm there to win the fight, and after the fight, we can talk about everything else. Madrimov himself isn't much for the trash talk, but his promoter Eddie Hearn didn't mind standing in his place to get into a bit of jawing match with Crawford during a promotional photo op.
Blood going down my jaw, and I got your money in my pocket.
Exactly.
Take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You said I owe you, take it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and guess what?
He's gonna take it.
And guess what?
He's gonna take it.
They ain't even gonna help
He's
you.
gonna take it.
They ain't even gonna help you.
He take it.
They ain't even gonna help
He's
you.
gonna take it on Saturday.
We gonna all pummel you. Pummel you. And you're gonna be like, police.
Listen, you used to be like that. Now you've got money. You've gone soft. Right.
Money and kids. Don't forget my kids, man.
Crawford doesn't make anything out of the visuals and believes that he'll get the answers when he faces Madrimov this Saturday.
Where does he rank in terms of opposition you faced? Is it your hardest fight, and how do you expect Saturday to play out?
I don't know. We got to see. I haven't been in a ring with him to get that assessment yet, and I'm no Bivol, I'm no Canelo, so him sparring with.
What does the eye test tell you?
I don't know. I never seen him in a ring with Bivol. The eye test tells me that he's strong and he's durable, got good footwork and good head movement at times, but I'm a different fighter.
Crawford's trainer Brian Bomac McIntyre shared his vision for how he sees the fight against Madrimov panning out. He believes that Crawford is strong enough to hang with the big boys. He stated, looking at Madrimov and his previous fight and just knowing Terence, it's going to be a pull and tug first couple of rounds, and then Terence is going to start walking away with the fight. Having already conquered junior welterweight and welterweight with undisputed reigns in each division, Crawford should adjust quite well to 154 pounds, according to McIntyre. It all depends if you use the weight properly, and Terence is not a small guy. He fits very well at 154. His body is adapting to the weight, so the power is there, the IQ is there, the rhythm is there. Everything is there that he needs at that weight class. So it's going to be intriguing to see what Madrimov can do with the extra weight that he'll supposedly have on Terence. But me, personally, I don't think he'll be able to do nothing. McIntyre's confidence stems from a training camp in which Crawford prepared for the best Madrimov possible. Madrimov is different. He's strong. He's determined. He's the champion. So you gotta train a little different. You gotta work on things a little different to prepare for a guy like that. Recently, Bud was also seen sparring with the former light heavyweight champion Andre Ward, showing that he can go against the big boxers. However, it seems like Crawford is not underestimating his August 3rd opponent, and although it's difficult to look past it at a potential fight with Canelo, Crawford knows that Madrimov is a big challenge for him. He stated just everything about him. He's a decorated amateur, he got a lot of experience in the amateur field. He may only have 11 fights, but he's 11 fights and a world champion for a reason. So I have to respect everything about him, just like I got to respect everything about any other opponent that I've been in the ring with, because everybody brings something different to the game. Crawford also made it clear that his fight against Madrimov is his first priority right now, and he is fully focused to become undisputed at 154. Crawford said, "My mind is crystal clear on one thing. That's August 3rd, and that's Israil Madrimov. I'm not thinking about worrying about Canelo or anyone else for that matter. August 3rd is the only fight that's in the back of my mind, in the front of my mind, in the side of my mind." Crawford is highly motivated for this fight. He said, "I'm motivated because he's got something that I want, and that's the title. I'm coming to take it so we can be respectful, we can be cordial, cordial, shake hands, smile, and have a little fun doing what we love to do. But come fight time, all the smiles are away. However, Madrimov's trainer Joel Diaz feels that it's a mistake for people to be planning on Crawford to face Canelo Alvarez next, because Madrimov isn't an average fighter that he's facing 12 days from now on August 3rd. Many casual boxing fans aren't familiar with Madrimov, never having seen him before. They've seen the 36-year-old Crawford many times during his long 16-year career because his fights have been shown on ESPN. He's the known commodity, so people go with who they're familiar with and view Madrimov, the unknown, as the prop for Crawford to knock over. Joel Diaz says Terence Crawford will feel Madrimov's power when he connects with his shots on August 3rd. Joel stated, "I know there's a lot of plans for Terence Crawford to fight Canelo. You can't count on that. Let this fight happen. They're Crawford, not stepping in the ring with an average fighter. This guy, Madrimov, is a world champion. With his experience, anything can happen. After this fight on August 3rd, they're going to know who Israil Madrimov is." Joel said Madrimov is hard to predict because of the angles at which he throws his shots and how he attacks. Crawford has never fought anyone with his style before, even though he's faced Eastern European fighters. They weren't talented like Madrimov and didn't have his power. Joel said, "When he's in the ring, he's in great control. I've seen him in the ring spar Dmitry Bivol when he was getting ready for Canelo. I was amazed. This kid is a 154 lbs, and he's sparring a 175-pounder, and he's doing great." Coming to what the boxing pros predict for this fight, Jamie Moore believes that people are sleeping on Madrimov. Moore said that Crawford is an exceptional fighter, but if he underestimated Madrimov, he'll get in deep trouble.
Yeah, for me, it's a 50-50. I don't think it. People are talking about him fighting Canelo next, and as if it's a foregone conclusion. There's no way I'd be overlooking Madrimov.
How big of a statement win would it be if, say, Terence goes out there, completely dominates or stops a Madrimov?
Huge statement in my book. And then, even though I still think Canelo's way too big and too talented for him, it actually puts a question mark over, has he got a chance here, if that's the case. So it really will be a statement performance if he does that. Yeah, for me, it's a 50-50. I don't think it. People are talking about him fighting Canelo next, and as if it's a foregone conclusion. There's no way I'd be overlooking Madrimov.
How big of a statement win would it be if, say, Terence goes out there, completely dominates or stops a Madrimov?
Huge statement in my book. And then, even though I still think Canelo's way too big and too talented for him, it actually puts a question mark over, has he got a chance here, if that's the case. So it really will be a statement performance if he does that.
Matthew Macklin believes that Crawford is very skilled and would eventually break down Israil on the fight night. Macklin says that Madrimov is a tough fighter, but Crawford's experience and skill will be too much for him. He stated, "I think Crawford will systematically break him down as the fight goes on. Madrimov could bring some physicality problems for Crawford as he is very strong and powerful, but he wastes a lot of energy at times, and I think Crawford will make Madrimov work hard every second of every round while conserves energy, and at the same time he'll bust him up with his jab and sicken him to the body every chance he gets. He might not stop Madrimov, who is very tough, but I think he'll take a bit of a beating down the stretch." Wayne McCullough believes that Madrimov can pull up the upset if he stays close and covers his chin during the fight. Other than that, McCullough also thinks that Crawford can knock out Madrimov in the 5th round of the fight. He stated, "Crawford won't have to go looking for Madrimov as his style is come straight forward, throwing wild overhand rights, but he also works close hooks to the body well. He does keep his hands up pretty high, but he is still open for shots. If Madrimov can stay close and keep his chin covered, trying to outwork Crawford, he has a chance of winning. Crawford should use his southpaw right hooks to the head and left uppercuts to the body on Madrimov. If he does this, he could get a knockout around the 5th round, putting Madrimov down and out from a right hook to the head." Sean Porter advised Israil to stick to his roots and not try anything new. Porter believes that Israil is a great pressure fighter, but it only takes one mistake for Crawford to get in and finish the fight.
So this is what Madrimov does well. He's a great pressure fighter. He brings the mental and the physical pressure. Do what you do and do it as great as you can do it. Don't try to divert from that and do anything else. That's what Crawford does, man. He gets you off your game, causes you to do some other things, and then you stumble.
Porter was also asked for his views on how the fight with Madrimov might go while standing right next to Crawford himself. He talked with Crawford and told him, "I watched some Madrimov, I think, that Terence. It always takes you a couple of rounds to see what these guys bring to you. I expect to see Madrimov in your face. I expect the stick to come out from Crawford. I expect him to start the fight orthodox. I think this is going to be a fun fight. You're going to have your hands full, but I think you will handle it. You always handle handle it. Some people are born to do what they do, and this kid is born to do what he do. Porter says that Crawford's mental fortitude is much more superior than other fighters. He believes that Crawford's training regime is excellent, which helps him jump weight classes so easily.
There's two things with Terence Crawford, and the number one thing is his mental fortitude. The dude is just tough as, you can't even compare his toughness, his mental toughness. He hears, oh, that guy's stronger than him. He's gonna, in the ring on fight night, he instantly is going to want to show that he's stronger than the other guy. The other guy's faster, can move better, and he's gonna want to show that he's better than whatever it is anybody has said this guy could be remotely close to being better than him in. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But the other thing, after the fight with Errol Spence Jr., he was saying, I had a hard time making 147 pounds. Terence Crawford, very, very smart, intellectual when it comes to training, getting ready for his fights. He's been hitting weights for years. That's the thing that people didn't know about. So as he's moved up these different weight classes, he's already strong and physically muscular. And the endurance is there. The muscular strength is already there because he's built himself up to be in the weight class he belongs in.
Duke McKenzie thinks that no matter how good Madrimov is, he'll fall short against the much more experienced Crawford on the fight night. He stated, "This fight isn't as straightforward as many believe. Madrimov is young and starving for victory. This really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him to fight a modern-day great in the form of Terence Crawford, a two-time undisputed world champion. Those credentials don't come along very often, even in the modern-day era. While I see Madrimov giving a great account of himself, how do you beat a man with no obvious flaws? A switch-hitting genius, there is no blueprint on how to outbox or outpunch Crawford, and there are not enough superlatives to describe Crawford. Madrimov is the WBA champion and won't go down without a fight. I see Crawford winning via a wide, unanimous points decision." Chris Algieri is also expecting Israil Madrimov to provide Terence Crawford a hard night's work when they clash on the fight night. He stated, "I think Israil Madrimov has the right idea. The Joel Diaz aspect is really important. If he brings his best version of himself, he's very much a threat to even the great Terence Crawford. However, Chris believes that even though Madrimov is talented and has crazy power, he lacks experience when compared to Bud Crawford. He also says that Crawford's relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh will be very lucrative for him. Though talented, Madrimov doesn't have Crawford's profile or experience. So many, myself included, will expect Crawford to win. Turki Al-Sheikh's ability to broker these types of fights will also have delivered to Crawford the money his status deserves. Roy Jones Jr. believes that Crawford's move to 154 is best for him. He picks Bud to win the fight and claims that he might become undisputed for a third time.
How you doing, brother? Fight news. Good. I heard they're going to announce Crawford this Wednesday to fight Madrimov. Who? Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight champion. Right. 154 pounds. What do you think about that fight?
I think Bud wins the fight.
Saudi?
I think it's a good fight for Bud. I love the fact that he's going to 54. He keeps going up the ladder. He's doing a great thing, you know? There it is.
Possible that he might get the WBO also involved. He might take it from Dora.
That'd be good if he does.
Virgil Ortiz Jr. predicts an early knockout win for Terence Crawford in his title challenge against Israil Madrimov on August 3rd. He stated, "Madrimov is athletic. Madrimov is a beast, but Crawford is just a different beast. I don't think Madrimov beats Crawford. Crawford is up there with Usyk, Inoue on the pound-for-pound list. So I don't see Madrimov. And don't get me wrong, Madrimov is great, but Crawford is just on another level." Tony Bellew is a huge admirer of WBA light middleweight champion Israil Madrimov, but still thinks the Uzbek fighter will fall short against Terence Crawford. He stated, "I'd find it hard to back against Madrimov against most opponents, but Crawford is something special. You're looking at one of the best fighters of his generation, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down. Madrimov is an excellent fighter with many great qualities, and you've heard Eddie Hearn talk about how good he is. He might have some good moments in the fight, but Crawford is on another level to most fighters, and I think he'll win again." Zab Judah says that Crawford will snatch Madrimov's soul on Saturday. Judah believes that Crawford will figure out Madrimov and get rid of him in the later rounds of the fight.
Real quick, what do you think about Crawford Madrimov?
I think Crawford gonna snatch his soul out.
Snatch his soul out? Do you think Madrimov's gonna put up any kind of fight?
I think he's gonna try to put up a good fight, but I think once Crawford figure out the style and figure out the timing, it's gonna be lights out.
Retired former light heavyweight champion Antonio Tarver says Terence "Bud" Crawford has chosen a tough fight for his junior middleweight debut. Tarver says that if Crawford wins this fight, it could open a huge gate for a potential fight against Canelo Alvarez. He stated, "You gotta take your hat off for Crawford for choosing one of the toughest guys in the division. I think Crawford wants to make a statement. When you look at this guy, he looks like he's just a few pounds away from a Canelo build. He's going to be a strong guy. His arms are long, the way he fights. There's no real rhythm there, but he just goes left-handed and right-handed, and he's got power in both hands." Tarver further added that Crawford would be able to counter Madrimov's power by his swift movement and speed in the ring. Tarver said, "One thing he has is power, but I believe Terence has so many things in his bag. I think he's going to fight off his talent. Don't go in there and bang with a banger. As long as he can deploy a good defensive strategy and make sure he doesn't take no necessary shots, I think he can control him. He's not that fast, he's not that quick, he's a little plodding almost, so Crawford should have the speed on him, and I think once he finds his rhythm and his timing, I think Crawford will be able to do what he wants to do." Bozy Ennis is not a big fan of Madrimov's defense. He has seen some of Madrimov's fight and said that if Madrimov came aggressive against Crawford, it will be a short night for him.
I don't see that boy beating Terence, man, at all. I don't see him beating out there. I mean, the guy, he can punch. I mean, that's what I see. All I see is he can punch. And, you know what I mean, his defense is not that tight to me. You know what I mean? They say he moved, but I didn't see him. I've seen a few fighters, a few of his fights. But I ain't seen all that much movement. You know what I mean? I seen him coming forward a lot. You know what I mean? You do that with Terence, I think it's going to be a night-night.
Crawford's teammate Shakur Stevenson also insists Bud is more than capable of carrying his devastating knockout power up through the weights after witnessing the sparring sessions against Andre Ward. He said, "Honestly, I think that Bud beats anybody who he gets in the ring with, even at a higher weight class. I think he's got all the tools and ability to beat anybody and everybody." Shakur also highlighted Crawford's power and said that he had seen Crawford hurting 200-pounders in the gym. Shakur also highlighted Crawford's power and said that he had seen Crawford hurting 200-pounders in the gym. Shakur added, "He's got punching power, boxing IQ, boxing skills, and footwork. There's nothing he can't do in the ring, so I think he'd be a hard task for anybody. Another thing, his punching power translates to another weight class. I've been in the gym and seen him hurt a heavyweight, a 200 lbs plus dude." Jim Lapley also believes that there is nothing that Terence can't do. He said, "We can't tell Crawford what he can or what he should do. He thinks that Terence is able to do anything, and he's the most stubborn guy he's ever seen."
I would never tell Terence Crawford he can't do anything. There's no... If Terence Crawford told me, "I'm going to become a light heavyweight and I'm going to fight David Benavidez," I would say Terence knows better than I do what he can do. I mean, does it make any sense? No, it doesn't make any logical sense. So at the end of the day, we can speculate all we want about what he can do or what he should do, but nobody's going to decide this other than Terence Crawford. He is willful, he is stubborn, he is self-possessed, he is possessed of enormous self-belief. He is as confident as any person I've ever met. If I tell Terence Crawford, "You can't drive your Ferrari from this intersection to the next one," he's going to get into the Ferrari and prove to me that I'm wrong. So I look forward to seeing whether Terence can prove everybody wrong about what he can or should do, and I also look forward to finding out whether Canelo Alvarez wants that fight.
Jim Lampley has envisioned the possibility of Crawford Alvarez since last year. He said, "It's a fight that can happen because Terence is an innately competitive human being, always looking for ways to test himself while looking for ways to feel belittled if people don't give him his proper credit. I'm sure he took notice of those who picked Spence. He has an extremely competitive arrogance in that he's bothered and offended by thoughts that anyone can beat him." Lampley hails Crawford as the last great fighter of the HBO era, and in those times, Lampley witnessed Crawford's promoter, Top Rank, elevating others to the promotional heights that Crawford knew he deserved. Lampley sees the fighter summon all the motivation he needs from that slight and others. Lampley said, "Crawford wants to prove the people who underestimated him wrong. I haven't spoken to him about this. This is an educated guess, but I feel he's learned this is a business. He's in there to fight, to hurt the other guy, and get out." Lampley believes if Crawford does that again this Saturday, he will surely look ahead, right into the eyes of Canelo Alvarez, whom he has competed with for pound supremacy over the better part of a decade. He said, "If the opportunity presents himself, he's going to fight Alvarez. I know Terence. He likes those challenges." Crawford was put up against Jaron Boots Ennis in a potential future showdown, but he made it very clear that he wants to face Canelo next. Following Ennis's impressive victory over David Avanesian, Alal Sheikh took to social media to share his thoughts. "I just reached out to boxer Jaron Ennis and Eddie Hearn to congratulate him on his win, and I'd love to see Ennis in a fight with Crawford at 154 soon." But Crawford was quick to dismiss this particular contest, and instead explained why a clash with undisputed super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez is more appealing. Recently on the MMA Hour, hosted by Ariel Helwani, Crawford said that he is more interested in a fight against Canelo because this fight would add to his legacy and bank account. Crawford stated, "Where I'm at right now, I'm looking at the fight that makes the most sense, and that's not boots. Canelo's going to bring way more to my legacy and way more to my bank account. Because at the end of the day, when boxing is done, what will we have? I would have a legacy that's something people talk about for ages, and I would have a bank account that would last for ages as well." Also, the chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, Turki Al Sheikh, previously revealed that he is looking at making the super fight in either December or January over in the United States. He stated, "I'm working to deliver Canelo, but it will be a big fight for Crawford. I'll discuss the names with him." Coming to what others have to say about the potential Crawford versus Canelo fight, commentator Tim Bradley believes Terence Crawford will be victorious against undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. Bradley thinks Crawford can outbox Canelo just like Floyd Mayweather Jr. did 11 years ago when he defeated the Mexican star when he was 22 years old, fighting at a catchweight in 2013. After hearing that Canelo is not really interested in this fight, Bradley mentioned Jermell Charlos, who came in at 154 and survived against Canelo. He stated, "This is the problem with the fact that he fought against Jermell Charlo. Charlo comes in at 154. Jermell moved up a couple of weight divisions to fight Canelo. He got in there and laid an egg. He just basically went in there and survived. I'm not on Canelo's level, but the difference is the mentality of Crawford. He's a top pound-for-pound guy." Bradley further appreciated Crawford's skills by saying, "Charlo was never a top pound-for-pound guy. The skill set of Crawford is what he brings. He's a competitor, and he's been after Canelo. He wants to fight Canelo, and I think he'll do well against Canelo, I really do." However, Carlos Adams, who has previously sparred with Terence Crawford, believes that Terence shouldn't be fighting Canelo right now. He thinks that Canelo punches really hard, and it will be dangerous for Terence's boxing career.
Pienso que sí, ya que subí 3 divisiones bastante libre, demasiada yo diría. Pienso que no es algo que él lo necesita ahora mismo. Crawford en su carrera ha demostrado que es un buen peleador, pero pienso que no tiene que estar corriendo esos grandes riesgos, porque no solamente pone su carrera en riesgo, también pone su vida, porque un golpe de Canelo le puede hacer daño de por vida.
I don't think Crawford needs the Canelo fight right now. I think it's kind of needless for Crawford because his reputation is well cemented, and a punch by Canelo could not only be dangerous for him to lose the fight, but it could be dangerous for his life. So no need for Crawford to cross the line into such a heavy weight class.
Gracias, campeón. Showbiz, the adult, says that he would lose his mind if Crawford beats Canelo. Showbiz thinks that the weight difference and the fact that Canelo has one of the best chins in boxing today, it would be hard for Crawford to get the WD.
I mean, Canelo got a beard. I don't give a damn who it is. If Triple G couldn't hurt him at Kovalev, then shit, Terence ain't gonna hurt him. It's just about swimming without getting wet and outboxing him. He ain't gonna hurt that guy. And plus, he's too good. I got Canelo beating Crawford, bro. I like what everybody's saying, but I got Canelo really hurting. But I like the fight now more than I did before. But I don't see him beating Canelo, bro. It's just, you know. But hey, if he does, he's already one of the greatest fighters ever. But I would lose my shit if Crawford beats Canelo.
I think it's one of those moments where it's like, good try, Crawford. Listen, I would stand up and give Crawford a slow clap. I would.
Bernard Hopkins voiced his concerns for Terence Crawford, questioning his decision. He emphasized Crawford's well-being and benefit, asking what good the fight with Canelo could bring.
Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo, fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo? What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic. It makes sense and less life risk.
Bernard further added, "I have serious reservations about Crawford's decision to pursue this fight with Canelo. It's a risky move, and I question the wisdom behind it. As someone who's been in the ring and understands the physical toll it takes, I worry about Crawford's well-being in a matchup against someone like Canelo. What benefit does this fight hold for Crawford? There are plenty of other viable matchups available that don't carry the same level of risk." So, what are your thoughts about this fight? Do you think that Crawford can easily win despite moving up a weight division? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.